Is it worth buying a PSP in 2050? PSP was launched back in 2006. It was the first and the best-selling gaming handheld made by Sony. And almost a decade later now, is it worth buying a PSP? Let's find out. Hardware. The hardware perspective of the device is nothing much to be wowed about. But then it was a hugely popular gaming console, which means unlike games for PC, console gaming have a better stability because the games are made specifically for the same hardware. Memory Pro. Sony PSP, like other Sony devices launched back then, uses a Pro Duo card for storage. There are better alternatives like SD card to Pro Duo adapter that can expand your storage to whatever GB of SD card you have, making it plenty for your games, save files, and even for multimedia. Software. But when it comes to the software, things get a bit more interesting. Although Sony's PSP software was good, what makes PSP special is the modding community and the effort to make PSP better. With the custom-made softwares and firmwares. These custom-made firmwares helps you to change the user interface to running PSP games straight away from your memory card without the use of a UMD drive. And even play downloaded ISO games on your PSP. And with a simple googling you can get almost all the PSP games ISO out there. The games. Perhaps the most important aspect of PSP would be its games and its game support. As I mentioned earlier, PSP was one of the best selling gaming handheld out there, and its game library sure reflected, with games having from simple indie titles to games like GTA, Assassin's Creed, Tomb Raider, Metal Gear, just to name a few. And if the native PSP library isn't enough for you, as I mentioned earlier, there is a huge developer community out there which help you to flash an emulator for most of the older retro gaming consoles like Game Boy, NES and lot more. So as I asked, is buying a PSP in 2015 worth your money? Yes, it is. PSP was a phenomenon, and as years pass, its legacy continues just like wine. And as how the Game Boy got a cult following, PSP sure will travel the same way.